Hello, my friends, and welcome to FISHTORY. I'm Alexander Williamson, and today we're going to be checking out a brand new invention that I was sent a prototype of, and that you can get your hands on if you want. I'm not being paid by them or anything, but I do think it's a really cool idea. And for some people, I think it would be a really handy invention and addition to their aquarium, especially to people like breeding fish or who play musical fish, as we call it a lot, where you're changing where your fish are in tanks and you have grow out tanks, but you still want a planted tank. One of the biggest problems I have is that my fry will hide in a tank, but I still want that ecosystem with plants and infusoria and little tiny little food bits for them to eat that are living creatures. And with this, you can do that. But also, it's a really cool design feature. So let's check it out. And also, I'll show you guys the Kickstarter, and then we're going to put this together and actually see what it's all about. Because right now, you're only seeing part of it. This is a 3-piece unit, and it actually clicks all together, stays in place nicely, and you can build a big old tower of plants coming out of each of these. So let's take a closer look and see if it's something you're interested in. It's only got 2 more weeks on Kickstarter, so check it out in the links below if you're interested. So here we have the basic package that you would get as one unit or system. And you can put it together as a tower. You could put it together as 3 separate towers, or you could do something like I think we'll probably play around with today, but putting it together as one tower here that's a little taller, and then another one as a base. Now, let me show you some of the clever design features of this up close. All right, so here you can see that there is a cap that goes on the whole system, and I've already put some ferns in here. These are Borneo ferns, and right now these are immersed, so these are going to be up and out of the water with the roots in the water, ideally. And this top, you can put stem plants, or you could put like hair grass or something in there if you put it in this way. If you put it on this way, you can actually put substrate in there and then grow a carpeting plant or some sort of like vine or something that would hang down the rest of the tower, which could look really cool. But let's take a look at the actual main concept for this whole platform. And speaking of, we've got the platform. So this is the bottom. And this is something that you could have multiple systems of. And you just put this down and the whole thing locks into it. Hold on, let me do this. And I have a prototype that's 3D printed right now. So these don't exist, quote unquote, in the real world yet. But here we go. So it's all kind of interchangeable like Legos, where it all kind of goes together, which is neat. And all these pieces come apart. But the idea is that you would fill this middle channel, and you'd fill this with a rich aqua soil. And then around here, you would have either mostly epiphytic and rhizome plants, just because of the nature of how they're going to survive and thrive best. But you can also put in root plants, or things like you could put in something similar to a crypt or to bulbitis, something where it wants to anchor in, and it's going to feed towards the nutrients. So that way the roots, actually, if you look in here, the roots are going to pull towards that center column once you get them in there. But you basically load the outside up, and then it is ready to place however you want it, which is really great. You can move it all around. And then around it, you could either put filter media like ceramic bio beads or something, or you can put gravel. Now, he suggests gravel, and I think that's fine. It weighs it down. It makes this whole tower pretty heavy, and the roots will find their way through it eventually, which is fine. There is a ton of room for flow in here. And that is one problem that a lot of times, if you're growing something like Bucephalandra or Anubias, the roots, the rhizomes get choked out. And this kind of a system, this sort of tower, is perfect for growing them, especially if you're using CO2 infusion and you're doing more advanced stuff. This is how you are going to get the most space used in an aquarium. If you had a nursery tank, you could do like 6 of these towers and the walls, and you could grow moss and Anubias and Bucephalandra and these kind of high ticket and rare plants. And you could get the CO2 and liquid fertilizer and nutrients to all of the plants very effectively. Beyond that, there is the space and the habitat that gets created in the center. So if you're not using it for that and you just want it to be a nice decorative thing, you can see again, these roots can go right through this, no problem. And he has designed this over several years. He's put a lot of time and effort into it. And we'll look at all the specs a little more carefully since this is a prototype he has sent me and not the final injection molded thing. But, you know, some of the things that I've seen mentioned are, is it going to be made out of plastic? Or rather something like a recyclable, you know, starch-based or cellulose-based thing? Ideas like, is it going to be interconnected to more systems? So maybe like something that would stack off this way, you could make an arch or maybe another column. The whole idea is that this system can grow in the future, and he's patented it and gone down that pathway. Plus, he's really put a lot of time and energy into just making it look nice. But things like this, like originally the tower looked like it was all stacked in line with one another. Now the way it clicks into place, everything actually is staggered every other level. So you've kind of got the best look aesthetically for your plants. That and the way it winds up and around, you'll actually be able to, you can actually do kind of a spiral thing. So if you wanted to do a design of like a dark and a light colored plant going up this all the way, you know, however tall you want to make it, you can. And if you want, you could probably just get rid of the centerpiece if you're just doing rhizome plants. So I think it's a pretty cool thing, and a lot of people don't exactly know what Kickstarter is. So let's take a look at the Kickstarter and some of the other details up close about this whole system. And then I will meet you guys back in the fish room, and we're going to play with it and actually see how it looks and does in the aquarium. All right, here we are at his Kickstarter site for Habistax Modular Aquarium Accessory, the Aquascape towers here. Now, if you're not aware of what Kickstarter is, the idea is that a group of people all buy early versions of something or all support an idea or an invention. Now, I did a Kickstarter almost 10 years ago now, for my first book that I published of artwork, and then another for when the adult coloring craze was going on. I took a lot of my artwork and had it published, and I raised the funds on Kickstarter. So I have a definite appreciation for how much time and energy goes into thinking about sharing these campaigns, and it is very stressful while you're trying to see, you know, if your project's going to get funded and all that. But hopefully, even if it doesn't get funded through the Kickstarter in the first attempt, you know, he's got an incredible website here with all sorts of information, and that's also relayed onto the Kickstarter. So here he's got all the iterations and ideas that he's gone through while working on this, and, you know, creating the CAD files and making little changes with each generation of how it works and fits together. Lots of good multimedia little gifts on how to actually use this product and put it together. So that's actually really helpful for me trying it out with one of the prototypes. You know, and then he's also got, you know, the benefits, the kind of bullet points and infographics. It all looks really nice, and you can tell he put time, energy, and resources into this, and I really respect that, especially from like an independent creator, tinkerer, and fish keeper of over 20 years. You know, if you also want to see other YouTubers' opinions, we've got Daniel Keeping Fish, Aquarium Adventures. I know Fish Shop Matt also did a review, and now mine, obviously. But there's also, you know, the product dimensions down to the millimeter and all sorts of kind of like cutaway graphics and a timeline for funding and research and, you know, printing, shipping, all of that. And when you back the project, here's a nice picture of two of those towers that you could put together. A really easy way to like have a plant and, you know, the full benefit of a planted tank system in your tank, and you can literally just lift it up and move it into another tank. So if you were spawning angels or growing out fry, I could see where this would be super cool to have as your kind of core plant setup, rather than just one potted plant or something like you see in a lot of breeder tanks. But everything down to the packaging he's thought out, and what you would get if you back the project. 3 different little modular sets like I've got in this setup. So this is a really, really great site. I highly recommend you guys check it out. It'll be linked in the info below. But let's get back to my place and see how I'm doing in the real world, putting this thing together and trying it out. Originally I thought there might be a tower that I would want to build, and this would be the very top, all my smallest Bucephalandra. And you can see the rhizomes in there. We haven't put the core in with the nutrients. We don't really need it with this here. But what would be nice is you could terrace, you could make a rockscape up higher in the back
And you could use, one or two of these in one side and then still have a tower off to the other side. Let alone the fact that, man, you'd be getting very tall if you built this all the way up. Wow. But, I mean, I think it does its job very well. And you can see when we set it down right in the front here under the light, it is well lit all the way around. And these are brand new rhizomes from a tissue culture. They're just not, they're not settled by any means. So I'm going to let this grow. We're just going to let this be. And it's not because this is the best looking aquascape here. It's just to see how everything grows in, both with the tubes and the soil in there and without, with the rocks and the tubes and the soil and then without. But really cool, easy to move, and I think it looks neat. It's an easy way to do it. May not be my favorite look of all aquascapes there are, but boy, does it make life a lot easier. A lot easier.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us and watching today. I always appreciate you guys being here, being part of the community. And as I said, I don't have anything to do with this. I'm not getting paid. Don't have a stake in the future of this. But I do think it's a cool idea, and I love promoting independent creators and inventors, fellow fish keepers, especially that have put the time in. He's done 20 years in the hobby. And I just think it's a cool system. I've wanted to do something similar with the walls of tanks. It's very cool, and if you want to get a hold of one, definitely act now rather than later, because we got 2 weeks left in the Kickstarter, linked below, and you can get your own system, or 2 or 3, or enough for a whole store to start selling them if it's something you're interested in for retail. Other than that, guys, I'll keep aquascaping. I'll keep trying out products. I'll keep researching the odd trivias and intricacies of the hobby. And of course, I'll be back with more on the next episode of FISHTORY. See you guys later. Have a great day. Bye.